All right, today we're breaking down something huge. Russian President Vladimir Putin's landmark 2025 state visit to India. And let me tell you, this summit, it signaled a major shift in global alliances.
So, you have to ask, right? In a world that's so divided, why this incredibly warm welcome? I mean, this was Putin's first visit to India since the war in Ukraine started back in 2022. So what's really going on here? Why, with all this global pressure, did we see such high-profile ceremony and, frankly, such open friendship?
Okay, to really get what this all means, we've got to first look at what actually went down during this packed two-day visit.
So it all happened over December 4th and 5th. It kicked off with Putin's arrival and a private dinner. Then, the next morning, you had the full ceremonial guard of honor, and everything wrapped up with the big one, the formal annual summit at Hyderabad House that afternoon. A pretty tight schedule.
And the tone of this whole visit was really set by these powerful symbolic gestures. We're talking about Prime Minister Modi personally welcoming Putin right on the tarmac at the airport. Now that's a gesture that's very rarely extended to foreign leaders. And everything from that warm embrace to the gift, a Russian translation of the Bhagavad Gita, it all worked to reinforce this narrative of a deep personal connection.
But look, this summit was about way more than just ceremony and handshakes. It was about hammering out some really concrete economic and strategic agreements, deals that are designed to look deep into the future.
And the centerpiece of the economic talks? It's this number right here, $100 billion. That's the new bilateral trade target by 2030. Think about that. It's a bold plan to more than double what they're doing now. In a world filled with economic uncertainty, that is a massive statement of intent. And they're not just sticking to the old playbook of oil and arms. Not at all. Both nations agreed to move way beyond those traditional sectors. They're focusing on new areas, things like joint ventures in fertilizers, new shipping routes, and even promoting labor mobility. You've even got Russia's biggest bank, Sberbank, actively working to boost imports from India. The whole point here is to create a much more balanced, much more diverse economic relationship. Then there's energy. President Putin made this really crucial guarantee. And it's a powerful statement of stability, right? Especially when you consider all the global pressures on their energy trade. What it does is signal a firm commitment to India's energy security, basically saying, we've got your back, no matter what the external climate looks like. And of course, we can't forget defense. That long-standing partnership is also getting a major update. The focus is now shifting towards joint manufacturing on Indian soil. And this is a clear win-win. It aligns perfectly with India's Make in India goal of gaining technology and becoming more self-reliant. And for Russia, it secures a huge long-term defense market. Smart move for both?
Okay, but to really grasp the weight of these agreements, we have to pull back the camera. We have to look at the incredibly complex geopolitical stage where all of this is playing out. Because this is where the partnership becomes truly significant.
And this really lays it out perfectly. You can see the diplomatic tightrope India is walking. On one side, you've got India's core national interests, things like pursuing its own path, its strategic autonomy, ensuring its energy security, and maintaining these historic partnerships. But on the other side, well, there's intense international pressure, mainly from Western nations, calling to isolate Russia and, of course, to reduce those Russian oil imports.
And that brings us to this absolutely crucial point, this core principle of Indian foreign policy, strategic autonomy. So what does that really mean? It's basically the idea that India will make decisions based on its own national interests, on its own terms, not because it's being pushed or pulled by any single global power or bloc. And honestly, this entire visit is probably one of the most powerful expressions of that principle we've seen in a long time. Now, let's flip the script for a second. From Russia's perspective, this visit was a huge strategic win. Why? Because by showcasing this strong, growing partnership with a major global power like India, Moscow is sending a very clear message to the rest of the world. We are not isolated. So what's the big picture here? What's the bottom line? Let's pull all these threads together and really look at the key takeaways for the future of this partnership. First off, this was not just another routine meeting. No way. This was a clear, deliberate, strategic reset of the India-Russia relationship. This is all about recalibrating and reinforcing their partnership, not just for today, but for the entire next decade.
So, what should you really take away from all this? Well, for one, India is loudly and clearly reasserting its independent foreign policy. It's charting its own course. Second, this partnership is diversifying way beyond just energy and defense. And third, both of these nations see a huge mutual benefit in a world where power isn't just concentrated in one or two places, a multipolar world order. And finally, and this is important, this relationship is being framed as a long-term friendship, not just some transactional, what can you do for me kind of deal.
And all of this leaves us with a final really big question. In a world that is constantly shifting, where alliances are fluid, can this historic friendship actually redefine the future? The long-term impact of this strategic reset? Well, that remains a critical question, and it's definitely something to watch.